guys, I just want to share a little bit of what I'm out doing today, because when my known space video goes up, you'll probably notice that something is different. Instead of recording like late at night outside or in my house, I'm recording this video in broad daylight, out in the woods somewhere. So Stewartville has a pretty nice selection of like hiking and snowmobiling trails alongside the little creek/river in town, whose name escapes me at the moment. It's I should say it is somewhat possible to get lost, but some of the trails are paved, and those follow a pretty nice, easy to learn pattern. So you can just kind of follow them along, follow an unpaved trail until you hit a paved one, and then you'll know where you are, as I've just done. It's really kind of a pleasant day out here. The flies are not, and mosquitoes are not too much of an issue yet, so I'm able to just kind of walk around in my shirt sleeves. I've been walking now for an hour and a half, I think, a little more. Walked out to work to hand off the night manager's keys to the closing manager for tonight, because I don't work today, and then decided to go walking on the paths and such and record a video for you guys about my known space setting. Now this video is going to require a little bit of editing, because I didn't want to be the guy walking along talking about weird science fiction stuff while people are riding their bikes and walking past and such. I'm not quite that daring yet, so there's a lot of places where I just kind of randomly pause and point, and the camera often winds up pointed in weird directions, and so I want to go through at some point and edit that. So it might actually be a day or two before that one's live, depending on how long it takes me to figure out my video editing. Hopefully not long. Other than that, things are going okay. There's an interesting bit of like open grassland, prairie land on the south side of the creek here that I'm walking through. Let me show you. It looks like somebody's done a burn here, and this would have to be in the last month or so. I think it's been, well, with one thing and another, it's been almost a month since I went out walking here last. And last time I was here, it was lots of tall, thick prairie grass. So it looks like someone's done some sort of controlled burn, which is interesting. Yeah, that's about it. I'm out walking in the middle of the afternoon. I'm going to go home as soon as the trail I'm on finds its way back home. And then run my second online adventure tonight. That one's always interesting. It should be an interesting session tonight. Last week the party basically they finished a fight they'd started the week before. They spent about a week and a half just on this battle and then getting in and out of it. And in the process they took a prisoner, a woman who appears to have some magical knowledge, and one of the party members is obsessed with it, and with finding that kind of arcane power, and he's starting to act out, the character, that is, not the player, but the character is starting to act out quite a bit in his treating her quite roughly, trying to get this knowledge, and we shall see how that sits with the party. One character in particular is very inclined to be opposed to that. On the other hand, he's suffering from a bit of he's got a guilt complex kind of a thing going on. So he's a pacifist, completely unwilling to kill people. He has a pacifism cannot kill disadvantage, and he was unable to prevent one of his party members from killing someone fairly viscerally right in front of him during the fight. Some other people died, but he wasn't directly involved. But that happened right in front of him, and he's not coping with it very well. On top of that, like, this is a guy with a maybe even a little more conscience than is good for him as a character. And especially in a party that's got 2 to 3 fairly ruthless characters in it. He's in the unenviable position of being group conscience with a lot of personal hang-ups involved, and we shall see how well the character handles it. But our magic-seeking character essentially has no holds barred for about 2 more days while he tries to figure out how to get what this woman how to get this information and cooperation out of this woman. And there are some things a couple of things I'm not going to allow, but given the party, I'd be deeply surprised and also more than a little angry at them, to be honest, if they came up. And I don't expect it to come up. So it's mostly going to be a case of some really entertaining role-playing, dealing with a player who is acting evil enough to make the role-playing interesting and unique and into areas that I don't often get to play when I'm dealing with heroic PCs, but not so awkward and evil as to require me to put my foot down and tell off a player for being an asshole. So, it should be an interesting week. I'm having a hard time connecting with this adventure as much as I do the other one. And I think in part it's got to do because it's sort of a superhero's adventure. And like a lot of superhero settings, there's a million things going on. A million different ways that people can have powers and abilities and such. If you think of Marvel, you got Captain Marvel, who's absorbed some bit of power cosmic from the Tesseract. You've got Ant-Man, who's got his Pym particles and such. You've got people like Hawkeye, we're fighting an army of robots and I have a bow and arrow. You've got people like Thor, who are essentially demigods. You've got, you've got 1,000,001 things going on. And that means that the setting feels like it lacks direction a lot. The science fiction setting that I normally use has a lot more focus. And so it's easier for me to pick up a ball and run with it. This setting is proving a little harder. So, it's taking a while for me to hit my stride, but I think I finally found a plot hook that the party is willing to bite on, and sometime soon I will probably be able to give you a little rundown on what it is once we know what the party's going to do, how long they're going to stay in this area to investigate, versus when they're going to want to run back to their patron and report in and get paid and re-equip and that sort of thing. So, that's what I'm up to today, what I'm going to be up to, and we will see you soon.